There's a 27 billion parameter file that landed on Hugging Face this week, and it just made your Claude bill look stupid. Qwen3.8-27B, free, open weights, not a rumor, live this week. And the same job you're paying Anthropic $3 per million tokens to do runs on this one for 13 cents. Whole video right there. If your monthly AI spend has a comma in it, this is the release your competitor uses to undercut you inside a month. I'm Stewart. I've been watching this pattern all year. A Chinese lab drops a model on Hugging Face on a Tuesday. r/local LLMA runs a countdown thread. And by Friday, every business owner still routing everything through Claude is paying $500 a month for work an open model could handle for the cost of electricity. Not the hard reasoning, the boring 60%. Ticket triage, doc extraction, draft generation, email classification. The volume lives in the boring stuff, so does the money. Here's what I'll show you. The pricing pull from OpenRouter, live, with the numbers side by side. The proof Qwen3.8-27B is already on Hugging Face, not a rumor. The two-line code swap that moves a whole workload, the honest catch every reaction channel is going to skip. And the one test to run on Monday before your developer touches production. Here's the answer up front so you can leave whenever you want. 20 million output tokens a month is a real number for a mid-tier support automation, not a stretch. On the cheapest Qwen route on OpenRouter today, that bill is $2.60. On Claude Sonnet, same platform, same call, $100, $97.40 saved, 38.5 times cheaper, and Qwen3.8-27B, the smarter, bigger one, is already uploaded to Hugging Face under 2 developer forks. I checked live before I hit record. Here's the OpenRouter pull live from today. Qwen 3.7 flash, 3 cents input, 13 cents output per million tokens. Qwen 3 30B, 19 cents output. Qwen 3 32B, 28 cents. Now the frontier row, same page, same call. GPT-5 Pro variants, $15 to $30 in, $90 to $180 out per million. 180 on one, 13 cents on the other, same platform, overlapping work. Let me pin down what that actually means in your accounts. Take a run-of-the-mill support automation, a bot answering tickets, drafting replies, tagging things. 20 million output tokens a month is a real number for that workload. On Claude Sonnet, $100. On the cheap Qwen route, $2.60, multiplied by 12, $1,200 a year against $31 a year. Same output, same job. Now scale it. 100 million output tokens a month, which is what you burn when your entire internal doc search and content pipeline runs on one key. Claude bill, $500 a month. Qwen bill, $13. $6,000 a year against $156. The delta on that one workload alone pays for a part-time developer to babysit the swap. And I haven't even brought in the 27B model yet because that's this week's drop. What I just showed you is what's on OpenRouter today before the release. The drop makes the case stronger, not weaker. Nothing about this bill math changes if you decide to run the model yourself instead of on OpenRouter. A rented 24 gig GPU on RunPod runs about $400 a month all in. Same math, different vendor for the electricity. Here's what your developer actually changes. One string. Before, you point your OpenAI SDK at api.openai.com, model equals GPT-5. After, you point the same client at openrouter.ai/api/v1, model equals Qwen/Qwen 2.5 72B instruct. Same client library. Same chat completions call. Same message format, 2 lines. Actual code, not a pitch. OpenRouter emulates the OpenAI API surface on purpose. The whole stack of chat clients, agent frameworks, internal doc search, whatever your developer already wired up, points at it without a rewrite. The client library doesn't care which endpoint it's talking to. And when Qwen3.8-27B lands on OpenRouter's pricing table, which will happen within a week of the Hugging Face upload if history holds, you swap Qwen/Qwen 2.5 72B for Qwen/Qwen 3.8-27B. Same string, whole workload moves. Anyone telling you this is a 6-month migration project is selling you consulting hours. Now the part every reaction video will skip. The catch, not what you think. 6 months ago, the catch was quality. Qwen models scored below GPT-4 on hard reasoning, over now. The 32 billion parameter Qwen from this year lands within a few points of frontier closed models on public benchmarks, and 27B is close enough for the volume workloads I've described. The real catch in 2026 is 3 things, and none of them are quality. First, latency. A single 24GB GPU running a 4-bit version of this model answers in 1 to 3 seconds for the first token. Fine for background ticket triage, not fine for real-time customer chat where you need sub-second response. Route by task. Route by task means this. Your customer-facing chatbot stays on Claude for now, because seconds matter and Anthropic has spent a year tuning that stack. Everything happening in the background, which is where the volume is anyway, moves to Qwen. Same team, 2 vendors, 1 tiny router in front of both, and OpenRouter is that router. Second, tool use polish. The Frontier Labs have spent a year hardening function calling. Open models are workable, but you'll hit edge cases your Claude setup doesn't hit. Test before you swap. Stay with me because the third one is the one that decides whether you can do this at all. Third, data residency. Run the weights locally on your own GPU and the Chinese origin question goes away. Hit a hosted Chinese endpoint and it doesn't. If you're in healthcare, finance or anything regulated, buy the box, don't rent the endpoint. Whole catch. None of it is a reason to keep paying $500 a month for the boring 60%. Here's who this actually hurts. Not you. The AI agencies charging you $1,500 a month to run a support bot on top of Claude, keeping the API markup as their margin. The business dies when their competitor spins up the same bot on Qwen for the electricity cost and charges you $800 with better margins. The SaaS companies whose product is a Claude-wrapper with a prettier UI. Their unit economics evaporate the second a comparable open model is 1 string away. The enterprise sales rep quoting you a 5-year contract for a model tier that's about to be free. And I haven't even mentioned the freelancers who charge $150 an hour to implement AI for your business by writing a Zapier flow that hits the Claude API. Their whole pricing model assumes you can't do it yourself. When your bill is $15 a month, they can't justify the retainer. Anthropic and OpenAI's mid-tier tiers, which is why you've already watched GPT and Claude prices fall 3 times this year. Qwen and DeepSeek are the reason those cuts happen. If you sit still and keep paying enterprise sticker on a workload that could run open weights, you're subsidizing your competitors' price cuts. The window is the gap between the model dropping and the average operator switching, usually about 4 weeks, which puts you at day 1 of the countdown, watching your window shrink. You don't have to trust me. Open OpenRouter.ai/models yourself right now. Filter by Qwen. Look at the per million token price. Then filter by Anthropic Claude Sonnet on the same page. Compare the numbers next to each other with your own eyes. Same platform, same day, same call format. Then open huggingface.co and search Qwen3.8. You'll see the FP8 build and the community forks live under 2 developer accounts. That is the proof, not me telling you. Here's what you tell your developer on Monday. Pick your highest volume, lowest stakes AI workflow. Ticket triage, doc extraction, email tagging, whatever it is. Something that runs 1,000+ calls a day, and where a wrong answer goes to a human queue, not to a customer. Take a sample of last week's inputs, maybe 500 of them. Run them through Claude, log the outputs. Run the same 500 through Qwen3.8-27B on OpenRouter as soon as it hits the pricing table. Log those. Have a human review 100 random matched pairs. If the quality gap is inside your tolerance, you have a 2-week migration on a workload that just went from $500 a month to $15. Do it once, prove the pattern, repeat on the next workload. Before you go, subscribe so the next release lands in your feed the day it drops. And the Church of SEO Jesus is my free school community where operators trade the exact routing setups, swap scripts and cost-cutting playbooks from these videos. Free, no pitch, link in the description and pinned comment. Which brings me to the next question. What do you do when your competitor already moved first and their prices are already 20% below yours? There's a specific playbook for that one. Cost repricing, not just cost cutting. Different video, queued on the end screen. Watch it next if you were the operator who slept on Qwen3.8-27B 6 months ago and had to explain the P&L to a boardroom. The same window is open again this week, the countdown already started, and this time you're on the right side of it if you move by Friday.